Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force, and we are back. Back for more Gen 13, more J. Scott Campbell, and first more Blood Force.
Hello friends, welcome to Blood Force. So this is Blood Force. Blood Force is a comic book that I write and draw. It is both a celebration and a parody of 90s extreme comics, and it is full of crazy stuff like this, and the action is only getting better with every page. And in order to read Blood Force, all you have to do is open the description below, click the link, go to my Patreon, and subscribe there. By subscribing on my Patreon, not only do you get access to the Blood Force comic, all of it in its entirety, you also get access to every video that I make before I post it to YouTube, usually about a week or two in advance, as well as the pre-Blood Force stuff. So we're talking about the sketches I made coming up with Blood Force, as well as a couple of projects I worked on before I did Blood Force. All this for just $3 American. You cannot get Arm Blades and Vengeance for a better price. So subscribe today, let's get Blood Force out on those shelves, and let's give the world the comics it deserves.
Alright, so we're back with Gen 13, number 3, and this is April of 94, so we are staying on schedule, at least for this first bit. And just taking a quick look through the next couple of issues, it looks like they don't quite keep it there, but pretty close. Issue 4 comes out in May, issue 5 comes out in July, so just skip June. Pretty good accomplishment, actually, for the first 5 issues of the miniseries. So we're going with a Pitt crossover this time. And, I mean, we've seen that at least once before with Cyberforce, and it didn't go particularly well. The setup was lame, and the fight kind of sucked. Not a whole lot happened in that one. So we'll see if this one goes any better. Hopes aren't exactly high. The cover here, pretty good. Pretty dynamic angle, at least. Some of it doesn't quite work, it feels like, but overall, not bad. And we're interacting with the logo. This is I know this is the second time we did that, because we did that on issue 2 as well. Did not happen in issue 1. So I wonder if he's getting a bit of advice from Jim Lee on that, or if he's just making compositions and making his own covers. And logo be damned a little bit. But you do need that familiarity before you can confidently cover up a logo. So yeah, maybe it was like an okay from Jim. Like, okay, we're in a good enough spot where we can do that if we want to. But it looks pretty good. One thing, he really likes to stretch out Fairchild, you know. I'm gonna keep an eye on, because I mean that is gonna be the case going forward. I'm gonna keep an eye on Freefall and Rainmaker though, to see if he does the same thing, because part of Fairchild's whole thing, when she got stronger, she grew. So I wonder if he took that as an excuse to give her ridiculously long legs, but then kept it in check for the other two. It's possible. So, checking out the cast on this one. Story by Jim Lee, J. Scott Campbell, and Brandon Choi. So he is starting to contribute to the story itself. We don't see anything about a dialogue writer here, so I guess we're back to... Well, I mean, it could be Brandon Choi doing the script. It could be J. Scott Campbell, theoretically. Maybe he gets a final edit or something. Everybody here is pretty much the same. Jeff Marriott's back to just doing the letters page. And, yeah, all sorts of people doing color assists, ink assists still. Production by Wildstorm Effects. Wildstorm Effects is these people here. So, yeah, we've still got, like, 3 dozen people working on this comic, it feels like. Alright, so we're kicking things off. And Fairchild still has her gigantic gun from the end of issue 2, which looks pretty faithful to the design there, so good job there. And she's trying to break back into the fortress here, the IO outpost. And we've got a Black Razor team bringing something into the outpost here. I like the angle that he went for, and I like this truck. The only problem is it's too small. Like, this is a flatbed, so it's not like this is a big old garbage truck kind of thing. Still, it feels like, it should be like twice that size, maybe. You can tell by the wheels next to the, like, those are like Honda Civic wheels. All right, and Ivana Bayul, the head of this particular outpost, is advised that this thing is getting dropped off. Nothing's supposed to get dropped off without her okay. And they have caught something. They're shocking it to keep it away from the bars. And it turns out that the person who brought it in was Lynch. And he's taking advantage of some IO regulations to sneak into the facility and see exactly what Ivana's doing. And we see J. Scott Campbell starting to get a bit of a better hold on faces. These look more like what we're used to out of him. So maybe he's figuring things out. It does feel like he is figuring things out a bit more from issue to issue. And then we get a fun shot. Like, this is some Danger Girl shit right here. Of the outpost on a fucking mountain off in the distance. Like, where did that truck drive up to? You know, it doesn't matter. And another shot at backstory here. I don't know if this is necessary, but I suppose if you can keep it brief, it's never a bad time to recap the readers on what's going on. And I mean, you know, they keep it to one page, and you get some cool shots in there. I guess that's all right. And so she gets the drop on one guy, but doesn't notice the other guy. So maybe a little inexperienced still, but takes them out pretty easily once she, asserts herself. Sure, that works. And we're getting some Art Adams attempts at Art Adams detail, which I appreciate. And he's still doing action pretty good here. Get a Dutch angle. He's getting the hang of things. He's been attempting these diagonal panels since the beginning, though. But now it feels like he's starting to get an idea of when it's more appropriate, maybe. And Fairchild decides to check and see that everyone's still alive, because she doesn't know the extent of her powers yet. Okay, they're fine. You know what? Actually, this uniform might come in handy for sneaking into the base. And this is a quality of profile that we haven't seen from J. Scott Campbell to this point. This almost looks like Jim Lee, but this is some straight up Art Adams shit. I'm not sure if this is strictly from him or if he's maybe looking at a reference a little bit. It could be. It definitely looks better than he's been able to manage so far. I don't remember him trying this angle too often before this. And Threshold is spending some quality time with the Gen 13 kids. Basically just, you know, these three, they're recapturing the assets. Him, they're still trying to jumpstart. He's the only one. And so, they're going to do that by shocking him, I think. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. But these guys don't have super long legs. Just something to point out. That said, with the angles, it might be tough to do that. She doesn't have super long legs when they're bent up. If anything, that actually looks a bit out of proportion the wrong way. They're fine there. Anyway. So, did we mention what was in the box at all? Oh, just back here. You see the red eyes. So, when I was first reading through this, I'm like, oh, so who would they have gotten for Gen? Oh, right. Dumbass. So, all right, they've captured Timmy because they got some weird anomalies in his genetic makeup that made him think maybe he was an SPB, and tested him and quickly found out no, that isn't the case, and then had to deal with Pitt and apparently captured Pitt. And they tried to make him feel better by putting like Barney shit on his wall and playing Beavis and Butthead, and he's still kind of terrified. So that kid just isn't grateful. And they're monitoring him 24/7, of course. Come on, feel at ease, kid. And, you know, so Fairchild comes in and says, I'm going to get you out of here. We could have used a panel, I think, where she finds out that Timmy's here, but, you know, it's fine, I suppose. And Threshold's sister, who we find out here is Bliss. Yeah, right there. Apparently is telekinetic and is playing Grab the Keys with Pitt, which is kind of fun, actually. That's not bad. You know, like, you don't mind a thing where the villain is antagonizing the hero and just treat him like a dog. Yeah, that works. And bit of a tough angle here, and then gave himself the rest of the page off. Yeah, I think that's fine. And so while they're walking away, Bliss and her manservant, Fairchild runs behind her with Timmy. I think she was trying to sneak by her, but didn't do a very good job, probably because she's like 7 feet tall. And it's probably badly coordinated, seeing as though she's still getting used to this body. And she does some kind of telekinetic thing to blast her, and Timmy as well. And of course, Timmy pain equals pissing Pitt off. Can't have that. So Pitt just breaks his chain, although he was in the electrified box. He was also captured by the chain. I would imagine, I guess, if the tasing doesn't hurt him that much, but you know, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that it could be where tasing doesn't hurt him that much. Maybe he acts like it does. He's just kind of biding his time until he can get to Timmy right away. The only thing is that they didn't say any of that, really. He just breaks his chain and he's free. And he's got a voice in his head called Chakran, which I don't know if I ever got to in the Pitt series. I don't remember him having any kind of telepathic link with anything. And we get a little after DKON here. So I believe he stole this this shot from a specific Dale Keown panel, but credited Dale with it. I assume that probably went down okay. It's a good pose, you know. Good back muscle stuff. And yeah, Pitt is going to insert himself into the action here. But we're getting some pretty good double page spread stuff going on. And we see that J. Scott Campbell can kind of draw everything. He can do all the tech stuff here. You know, he's got some weird perspective going on. Her pose is odd, but, you know, that's fine. You know, Dutch angles. And we're going to find out pretty soon that he can do action well as well. And we actually get Pitt doing a "You Wouldn't Like Me When I'm Angry," which, oh man, for real? Okay, I guess that's fine. And some J. Scott Campbell panels. Everything's diagonal, which does seem to add a little bit of chaos to it. You know, like she's hitting a button and like a blast door is closing. And I don't know, it feels like it does speed things up a little. So he turns to check on Timmy. And Fairchild, who is still kind of loopy, goes, "Oh my god, that monster's going to kill that kid. I've got to stop him." Which I like, that's all right. And we get a pinup by Dan Norton and Chuck Gibson. Which is fine. It's just boring. It's okay. Again, it's along those Victor Bridges lines. This feels like something you could turn into a comic artist if you wanted to. But not quite there yet. So we're going to get the fight between Fairchild and Pitt. So if we recall, the last time we got a crossover, it was Pitt versus, well, first Heatwave, kind of. We didn't see much of that. And then I guess Pitt versus Impact. But then they quickly decided they were on the same side, if I recall correctly. But no, this is going to be actually a bit of an extended fight. And so Slams into him, slams him into the wall. He counters with an uppercut. And we're getting their speed lines. We're getting some nice angles and some diagonal panels. And pretty good action for what is essentially the first superhero fight that we're seeing out of J. Scott Campbell. And Pitt grabs her, and this feels like of the time kind of thing. He basically goes, "What is going on here? Women aren't this strong, or Earth women aren't this strong." And Fairchild takes that personally and kicks him in the nuts. And we get a great J. Scott Campbell reaction panel. That's good stuff. And that leads to her taking over the fight a little bit. A knee to the solar plexus by the looks of it, and then lifts him up, probably to throw him. So that's a good panel, actually. Like, Pitt looks huge there, and good use of no backgrounds, no panel borders. So all you can see is these two here. And we're getting some nice detail. And yeah, tosses him, not too far though. And then Pitt goes to the Teen Wolf claws. So, like I said, in the last one we didn't see too much of Pitt actually fighting any of Cyberforce. I guess he fought a little bit against that no-name team of mercenaries. And that was kind of it. I mean, we're kicking things off with Pitt here with a 4-page fight versus Fairchild. That ain't bad. And now we're cutting back to Grunge with Threshold. And so he's going to use his last-ditch attempt, which is some sort of electro thingy to try and trigger his power or kill him, basically. And this panel is this panel only morphed. Okay, that's fine. And apparently that does seem to trigger stuff because he, threatens free fall, and Grunge is like, no, not on my watch. And he absorbed metal, maybe, from the manacles? And broke the manacle. I'm not sure exactly what happened here. He does seem to have absorbing man powers, which is not what I thought he had. That said, the only time I really, I didn't read Gen 13, so I don't know exactly what anybody's powers are. So the only time I've seen them before this is in Deathmate Black, where he was super dense, I believe, or very difficult to injure. And Freefall does the whole, "Oh my god, that was so romantic, you saved me at the last second, manifested your powers." And he's, "But sure." They're still teenagers, even though he's got chin full of stubble here. Okay, so Ivana is checking up on the situation with Lynch. Cool shot of Lynch in the background here. And they're checking up on the fight between Fairchild and Pitt. And I kind of like this thing here. It's a war. Just breach sub-level 7, sub-level 8, sub-level 9, and they come crashing through the ceiling. That's all right. A lot of detail in here. We're actually kind of seeing the depth of this command center, or this command room, whatever it is. And they come to, and the IO people, say, "I want them both dead." So we're on the same side? Which, at least we got a bit of a tussle before we got to that point. And then Lynch says, "Fire on my mark," and we're already at the end of the issue. Well, crap. I was actually kind of having fun with that. Alright, so, moving on, we've got the Wildstorm set number 1. I don't know what the hell that is. That looks like J. Scott Campbell. It looks like it is. And we've got our letters page edited by Jeff Marriott. Oh, and it's called Talking About My Generation. Okay. I mean, that is a bit more fun than the other ones. Okay, so, Yeah, Savage Dragon is Fanatics. I forgot about that. Spawn is the spawning ground, which, yeah, sticky. Uh, Wildcats is called the Wild Brigade, is Battle Cries, and Youngblood is Bloodlines. So, I don't know. This is too unwieldy in my opinion, but whatever. They can do what they like, I suppose. All right, and then we got a bit of fan mail. Not much of interest in the letters here. I feel like that Supreme letter was so long ago now. Maybe it was a bit of a one-off before they really had their shit together. And it's like, no, we can totally have like, kind of negative mail, and we can answer to that. Yeah, no, that'd be great. And then no, that's a pain in the ass. Why would we do that? But yeah, fan mail here. It looks that's always fun. That doesn't look terrible. I mean, the one leg is too short, even for that angle. But it's not bad. And then Gen 13 coupon number 3 of 4. And they did mention that the series is now going to stretch to issue number 5. I wonder if they add an extra coupon. That'd be good. And Team Youngblood number 9. Okay. That's gonna, I don't know if you can tell, but we got some Troll in there, and some Night Strike, and some lame-ass helmet version of Die Hard. Always good. And then Wetworks, 3 years in the making, 4 pints of ink, 29 pencils, 98 sheets of paper, 237 pen nibs, really? So on average you're going through like, 2.5 pen nibs per, maybe, okay. And 20,000 bullets. Wetworks, long time coming, but worth the wait. First issue on sale, July 1994. I checked, that is actually the date. So good job on them. I thought it took a little longer. All right, so that is Gen 13 number 3. It kind of leaves us in an awkward position because we got a cliffhanger at the end of it here, which I was not really expecting, to be honest. I mean, we didn't get that from any of the other miniseries, really. I mean, I guess, something like Cyberforce, but then it had like a 6-month wait for number 4 anyways, right? And, but I wasn't worried too much about leaving Youngblood at number 3. Savage Dragon, the first miniseries, that was the end of it. And the second series, number 3 is a fine place to stop. But Shadowhawk, I don't think I would have had a problem leaving in that there, because it's not really an overarching story. None of them are. But this is the first time this has been a story all the way through, kind of. Got a nice big fight in the middle. That's pretty cool. So I guess what I'll probably do, I was thinking probably move on to something else next week. I think I will regardless, because 2 straight weeks of Gen 13 is a lot. We'll find something else for next week, but then the week following, I think we'll get back with the remainder of the Gen 13, because we kind of got to see how this finishes up, right? And see just how far J. Scott Campbell advances in a short period of time, just 6 months. So we'll do, and since I'm doing, 3 videos in a week, we'll do 4, 5, and then number 0, because that's supposed to come out around, theoretically you would get that after number 5 comes out anyway, so that makes sense. All right, so we'll do that. In the meantime, this has been a pretty fun series. And the art's getting to look really good. It started out pretty good. And just imagine Jim Lee at the time, because he finished that Gen 13 number 1 cover September 93, right? So he'd already done all this stuff for Deathmate. That probably would have been early 93. And when did Stormwatch number 0 comes out? I guess that's the real question. Because the other one would have been The Art of Homage, and that one didn't really have a real date on it. So Stormwatch number 0 comes out August of 93. So it feels like, maybe a third of the way through 93 is about when he started. And, what is... Mark Silvestri isn't spinning anything off at that point. Todd isn't. Eric isn't. I don't believe Jim is in any way. Yeah. And then, of course, there's Rob, who has Supreme and Brigade at this point. Actually, no, you know what? Jim has Stormwatch. So he's already spun off with Scott Clark, and now he's got J. Scott Campbell. Meanwhile, Rob Liefeld's going forward with, Jeff Matsuda, Merritt Michaels, Dan Fraga, Dan Panosian. And just kind of, whoever he can find, it feels like almost. And meanwhile, Jim Lee's uncovering all these kick-ass guys. And Brett Booth. Nothing really against Brett Booth. Like I said, he gets to be very good, but at this point, he's nowhere near where he can carry his own book. Whereas these other guys kind of are, like right off the hop. And that must have been a huge kind of surge for Jim there. So good stuff. Does Pitt have a six-toed foot? Kind of looks like it. It's a well-drawn foot, though. Not what I think I want to steal, and very Art Adamsy, but still, well done. All right, so that is going to do it for this one. Like I said, we'll do a different title next week, and then we'll follow up with some Gen 13 just to get some closure, because we need it. But, in the meantime, please hit like if you like this video. Hit subscribe, hit the notifications, go over and follow me on Twitter. More importantly, go follow me on Patreon. That's where all of these videos go before I upload them to YouTube. There is a chance that Gen 13, I'm either uploading the videos now or they could possibly be uploaded by the time this gets put out. Oh shit, my Canadian's coming through. That's also, though, where my Blood Force pages go when they get completed, as well as all of the process stuff leading up to Blood Force. So quite a decent amount of content now we're getting. But in the meantime, thanks very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.